Hey everyone, this is Laura at LymanJoy, and today we're going to do a budget with me for April so that you can have your whole month planned out for success. Hey everyone, this is Laura at LymanJoy, and today we're going to do a budget with me for the month of April, making sure that we have assigned every dollar to a job, giving a zero-based budget so that we can be successful paying off debt, building wealth, or whatever your goal is. So go ahead and grab your pieces of paper, pen, whatever your planner you have, and go ahead and do it along with me. I'll give you some tips and tricks that help me along the way, as well as show you my real numbers and how I project how much money I'm going to get and how I kind of figure it out. All right, so let's get straight into it. Okay, so the first 3 months of the year are done. So next I go ahead and I leave March in here. I pulled my other two and put two new ones in. So now I have my last month of March planned right here. And then I have my next one, April started. And then I got as well as May next. So let's go ahead because I have to have that one before it helps me. So if you're brand new to budgeting, this is the first one that you've ever done. I want you to get 3 months of your expenses, print them out off of your bank account or whatever. Highlight all your groceries in one, highlight all your, eating out in another color and so on and so forth, and get the totals for that so that you can make this budget. I think the first thing to start with after you have all your expenses is making sure you know when you're going to get paid and what's coming up in that month. I have to know what I'm going to walk into to be able to account for all the expenses that I need. So first and foremost, I put on my first paycheck here, and then my second two paychecks here, and my fourth and fifth paycheck here. I only do 3 cash stuffings a month, so that looks like right here. And then I'll combo these and do one, and I'll combo these and do one. That way it's a little easier because I'm paid so close to pull the money and to be able to cash stuff. Then I like to go ahead and consider what is going on upcoming, any special occasions or budget updates. So special occasions, I have my mother-in-law's birthday. All right. I don't think I really have anything else going on in April other than that. Unique things to consider. No, I don't think I have anything there, and I don't think I have any budget updates. But if you have anything, that's where I would put it. You know, it was really big for like Christmas, or you have birthdays or going out of town. That's where you're going to want to put these things right here, making sure that you have everything noted. All right, so now you got all that set. We're going to go into my actual bills, okay? So I have labeled out every single one of my bills. Again, if it's your first time, just label out every single thing that came out of your checking account for a bill over the last 3 months, making sure you don't miss any. And I also include in here groceries and gasoline because it's an essential. So to me, it should be a bill that's accounted for. I know I spend it every month, so I need to budget for it. All right, we're going to kind of go through my thought process and how I do this here. So hopefully that will help you guys in your thought process. Okay, so let's just go through these together here. So the tithing, I do off a percentage. This is my projected lowest amount. So if I went back, and this is what I would do if I was new, in my last 3 months, and I would take the lowest amount of paychecks. So for instance, if you have a variable amount of paychecks, $1,200 to $1,400 every 2 weeks, I would not plan for $1,400. I would plan for $1,200, so $2,400 a month, and then I would budget that. So if you get more like $1,400, great. If you're in debt payoff, put it towards that. Or if you need to get something new, around the house that broke or whatever, put it towards that, or a sinking fund or something like that. But I would not budget for your highest paycheck, but rather your lowest. So this is the lowest that I had in the last 3 months. So that's what I am projecting. Hopefully it'll be more. I always suggest if you're in debt payoff, you should be hustling, making extra money, figuring out what you can do to really bring in the most amount of money to get out of that debt situation as fast as possible. All right, so for my tithing, I will do right here. And my groceries. Okay. I forgot to say, I look back here. I did right before I started this video, but let me share it with you. This is last month. All right. And this is last month's bills. And I always budget what projected, which is what we're doing right now. And then I do a closeout, which I think is equally important as the actual budget itself. That's where I put the actual numbers that was taken out of my bank account. These are the ones that were different that I've decided I need to change the amount because what I had previously been budgeting for didn't work. So for instance, gasoline, I budgeted 500, but I was 642. And this is because I've been helping my mother-in-law who is moving up about 45 minutes from me. And so I want to make sure as she's still moving for the next month that I can go ahead and help her. So I'm going to budget more. Then my cable bill, which is usually budgeted for 130, is 98. And when I called, they said that's the new bill. So I'm going to change that amount and so on and so forth. So anything changed at your closeout, you want to make sure to go ahead and note it here so that when you're doing this budget, you can account for it. So let's see here. We have gasoline's going to be 700 and cable will be 100. So here, gasoline will be 700 and cable, where is that at? Supposed to be 100. And then what else did I change? I changed Capital One Kohl's to 30 and my Amazon to 40. So Capital One Kohl's to 30 and my Amazon to 40. All right, and the rest I have just written down right here where I just pulled my actual numbers off of my bill overview that I did at the very beginning of the year. And I will actually come in here and update these as well. Let me show it to you. When you set up your whole budget for the year, which I suggest you do, you're going to be looking over what your bills are, what your sinking funds are going to be, what your cash envelopes, all those things. And it's really important to make sure that you know what they are and when they're coming out. So again, let's see here. Cable was 100, so I'm going to keep it there. We have Kohl's was 15. We're going to cross that out and change it to 30. And then we're going to have Amazon was 20. We're going to cross that out and change it to 40. And then I'll update these numbers here in a little later. This really helps it so when you make your budget, you can kind of put it all out there and it's easier to keep track of it. And I have one bank here and my other bank is right here. So I have each of them having their own kind of thing. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and just write down the rest. I did 700 last month and that worked perfectly. I'm hoping to save as much money in groceries as absolutely possible because I hate wasting money on just food. It'd be better to kind of stretch my dollar as much as I can. So I'll be doing reverse grocery shopping. And if you didn't see that, I will put that video here. It's what I've always done. It's just how I plan meals. And I shared that with you in that video. Mortgage is still going to be that $24.50. And dyslexia school for my son, $795. My HELOC payment, I do 100 minimum, but again, I work and hustle as much as I can to make it as large as possible. And I'll show you in just a minute that debt snowball and how successful I've been over the last 3 months as we think back on that quarter and how we're going to go forward to the next quarter of the year. All right, my Banfield for Mr. Coda is going to get 40. That's for his preventative care. Vivint, my security, 17. Donations is going to be 80 and subscriptions is going to be 80. My Capital One electric bill. So if you're new here, I go ahead and I pay off a credit card and then I put a bill on it. So in the beginning of the month, it's going to go ahead and charge for my electric. And at the end of the month, it'll go ahead and pay it. So no interest will ever accrue, but I'll be able to get points or whatever for that. It's not even access to me. I keep it in my safe. I don't ever have it with me. Okay, my phone bill, $289. And then student loan, $500. Car payment. Another credit card I paid off that I put bills on. Okay, my car insurance is $320. That's another bill I paid, a credit card I paid off that pays a bill. Home Depot is $30. And I want to close Home Depot and Kohl's, but I have to keep it open because I'm doing some crazy stuff with HELOC in a first position. I will share with you what I do when I do it. Right now, I just have HELOC in my second position, paying off my debt as fast and furious as I can. Solar is $169. Car wash is $32. Gab Kids phone, which is my favorite phone for kids. And if you don't know, it's a phone that doesn't have internet but looks like a smartphone. It's great to keep your kids safe. Pest control is $40, water and trash $120, and my gardener $120. Okay, I'm going to add this up really quickly, and then we will kind of go from there, okay? Okay, so we have 8,647 are all my core bills with the, you know, groceries and everything in there as well. So let's go ahead and put that here. So projected income is 11,200. Total expenses 8,647. Let's minus that. Okay, $2,553 is what I have left over. Now, this is probably the most important thing to make sure all your bills are paid, but your bills won't get paid if you don't account for what is here. At least this is my experience for me. The thing is if I have projected my bills, but I don't have money set aside for car registration, and car registration comes due and it needs $300, then I have to to pull from my bill money. And that is how you get in that terrible cycle of how to get behind, not having an emergency fund and not having sinking funds. I actually believe that not only an emergency fund is powerful, but at least for me, and that's just personal experience, sinking funds have been even more powerful. So in the past, I had $1,000 for an emergency fund. That's what Dave Ramsey says to do. And I do agree with that. Do that first. But the second that is done, you need sinking funds to keep you safe. Emergency should be very, specific, not accounted for, bizarre thing that happens. I feel like these, are coming. Car registration is coming. You're going to have doctor's visits with co-pays. Birthdays are coming. You need a haircut and spend money on clothing or going out to eat. These things are coming. So not preparing for them on a monthly basis, sets your financial situation up to fail. So that's why I think planning your actual bills, how much money you spend, what you spend your money on in the beginning of every year, or at least every 6 months check-in, is going to be a really powerful thing to make sure you're not missing something and it's messing up your budget. So people that get kind of behind on bills, which I was back in the day, that's why I started budgeting like this, was, I only made a couple of $1,000s a month and I'd always not have enough money to pay my bills. Even with a little bit amount of money, trust me when I say this, if you budget it, it should stretch. And if you prepare, you should always have money. So when I first started these kind of categories, I only had $5 to put in a couple of them. But even that $5 prevented those bills to get behind. And I eventually had money in each of these sinking funds. So start where you're at, but start and put even a little bit in each of these are going to be powerful. Okay, my debt snowball has been for before I started the HELOC 1200. And I do just pay my HELOC all of this, but I like to see how much extra, it's kind of fun for me, that I'm putting towards my HELOC in a second position. So for those of you who haven't been around a while and you want to know what that means, first of all, make sure that you research best for what's you. You have to know your psychology of money. You need to know who you are as a person. HELOCs can be very dangerous ways to get into a ton of debt and really screw up things. So just make sure you consider that. But I have been on a debt payoff journey for 3 years. For those of you that didn't know, my daughter, my eldest one, has had 7 open heart surgeries and countless other surgeries that threw us into an absolute financial abyss of debt and problems. And so because of that, we have a lot of debt to pay off. So we started out about 3 years ago where we had paid off a debt snowball, and we've gotten up to about $1,200 a little bit at the end of last year. So now we have that HELOC in a first position. We took all of that debt, put it into the HELOC in a fixed low interest rate, because normal HELOCs are really high. So you have to get that fixed low interest rate. And now I'm paying it off just at a much higher speed, because that some credit cards are 29, some are 17, and it kind of is all over the place. This makes it a lot easier. I can track it easier. I'm able to pay it easier, and I feel like I'm making much more progress. So that's what I'm doing there. But I'm going to figure out all these other ones and see what I have left to put towards it. So how I do that is I kind of look at what I have been doing. And I am in a no spend month. So I'm doing no spend for 4 months in 2024. This is supposed to really help me pay off a lot of that debt and I just want to really start the year strong. So if you've never done a no spend, I'm going to encourage you, do it. It has been very eye-opening. Yes, it's hard, but it's really been eye-opening for the kids and for me and my husband. And we have absolutely got to be able to pay off a lot of extra debt because of it. So last month I set up that eating out was $45, date night was $25, and childcare was $400. So I spent $470 in my cash envelope. And you know what? That's probably the best that I could do because childcare is non-negotiable. And date night for one time and eating out one time is probably the most stringent I want to be. Otherwise, I feel like I might be tempted to give up. I need a little bit of incentive. And so the kids are always excited at the beginning of the month, they get to go out to eat. And it creates this excitement instead of disappointment. The way that I present it is, hey, it's really exciting. Where are we going to go next month? And so it makes people have something to look forward to. It's good. We're going to repeat this exact same thing. If I'm not in a no spend, just let you know, all of these would have an amount, but because I'm in a no spend, they don't at the moment. So eating out will get that 45. Day night's going to get that 25. All the rest are going to get the 0. And then childcare will get the 400. So we're going to project again the 475. Now for my next one, for my sinking funds, okay? So I kind of move the money around, but try to stay within the 300. And like I said, when I first started, I literally had maybe 2 sinking funds and I did $5 or $10 in each because that's all I had. It took many, many years of many, many side hustles. I have 2 jobs. My husband has 2 jobs. It's a lot of hustling to get to where the money that we have. So start where you're at, but I'm going to try to figure out how to put this 300 out. I think car registration, I'm going to keep at 75. That's mostly because I just had to pay car registration and I dwindled that account. So, and pet care, I'm going to do 0. All right. And then health, I was doing 100 last month. I think, what do I want to do? I think I will do it at 75. Okay. And then birthdays, I only did 50 last month. Let's increase it to 75 as well. Like I said, I have 6 kiddos, so I have got to have enough to do that. School, yep, let's just keep it there. Let's do 15. And haircuts, 45. And then clothing, this is just like extra, like emergency fund clothing there. So I think that's right. Let's see. So 75 and 75 and 75. And 15 and 45 and 15. Yep, perfect. 300. And then long-term savings, I try to just put 100 in there every single cash stuffing. And these are going to be things like, let me show you. I do savings challenges for my long-terms and I like holidays and sports and college stuff and house maintenance. I put into my long-term savings. That way, again, you know it's coming. If you know you're going to spend the money on it, prepare, please. Okay, so I'm going to do 300 here. And I think when I started on this one, I did $20 and I put it over to 4 envelopes. So it's a doable on any budget. Remember that. Just start where you're at and it'll get better from there. Okay, so we had $2,553 left over. We're going to put that right here, $2,553 left over. I like to see like what the bills left. Okay, and we're going to subtract this. We're going to put it right here, 2,553 minus my, let's do this. Let's do 2,553 minus the 475 minus the 300 minus the 300. It's leaving, oh, that's not right. 2,553 minus 1,200 minus 475 minus 300 minus 300 equals $278 extra to HELOC. So 1,200 plus 278 is giving 1,478. Let's make sure I did all my math and correct because sometimes on camera math is messed up. Okay. Let's go put the debt snowball here. It'll be 1,478. And I will hustle like the best I can to get that to be more. And then we have cash envelopes 475. And we have my sinking funds at 300. And then savings challenge at 300 as well, long-term savings. So we have 0 base budget. This is awesome. This is exactly what we want, right? Because now every single one of my dollars has been told where to go. All right, if you only get $1 one paycheck, this is how you're going to plan it out. And now when you get paid, you're going to go to the bank, pull out the extra money that you had left, what you accounted for, and like this part right here, pay your debt immediately. You have your bill money, you have your grocery money, and now all your sinking funds, and go ahead and cash stuff. If you have multiple paychecks, make sure you're dividing this by whatever many times you're going to cash stuff. So I have 5, I cash stuff 3 times. I will take eating out, divide the best I can amongst 3, and date night amongst 3, and I will stuff all month long for the next month. Same with sinking funds and my long-term savings there. So that's how you do it. That's how it works. Now, next time I will be doing a cash stuffing, I will budget that paycheck and budget how many bills fall within that period of time, dividing that by 3 of what we just planned on the cash envelopes, and so on and so forth. It's really good to do that. Last thing I do is I make sure my check-in is all set up. All right. Let me go to the very beginning here. So week 1, we have the 1st through 7th. I do Monday through Sunday because I check in on Sunday, and 8th through 14th. And then 15th through 21st, and 22nd through 28th, and then 29th through 30th. Now these are my problem spots, okay? Groceries, and you got to figure out what yours are, but gasoline and extra, things that I'm not supposed to spend on, are my pain spots. So every Sunday, I like to sit down with my husband, do a check-in. Hey, this is how much money we spend on groceries. This is how much money we spend on gasoline. This is how much extra money we shouldn't have spent. And that way I can kind of look back at the budget, which was $700 for groceries, and see how much have I used and how much am I planning right. This sometimes corrects my behavior before it gets too out of hand. I want to always remember that I'm in a no spend, so there should be nothing extra. I had a little bit last month. I don't know if you guys saw my closeout, but you can see here I bought somebody who was in need some food, and I did have to pull some money from Reno because of some blinds that broke. So, but for the most part, I had a no spend, and so that was good. And then let's see here, frugal. I'm going to do that reverse. Groceries. I'm going to make sure I do that. And then lastly, I'm going to try no spend activity. And that leads us to our next spot. Wherever you're in your wealth building or a no spend challenge or a savings challenge, make sure you're having a check-in on that when you do your budget for the month, so you can kind of look what you want to step into and meet the goals that you want for that month. So for me, that no spend for 4 months in 2024, here it is. I'll put a video here if you've never done no spend and you want to see how to do it. And I made a no spend, like what we could do, no spend things to do. And I also made like how to save money and make money. And I kind of want to do one on both this month to kind of challenge me. So I definitely think I'm going to do that. And let's see here. I've set up my new no spend tracker. We've finished the first month right here, and I had 3 pain spots, right? And then I did last month's tracker, and I have that food there. And now we're on a new month. And my monthly goal is a 0 spend, right? And I want to make sure some insights to do no spend activity. And I would like to do a no spend increase money, right? So that I can pay off more debt. That's the whole point of this no spend. And then lastly, just checking in on my debt-free goal, how it's going so far, because we're at the 3-month mark. We're going into the 4th month, and I kind of suggest just to look at your stuff every 3 months and reassess if anything needs a change or is not working. You know, nothing's holding you to it. You can change whatever doesn't work. Looks like at the beginning of this year, I had 9 debts. All of these debts are in my HELOC, but I like to track them still. I like to see what the debt snowball would have done on its own and what I'm doing with the HELOC. Just kind of a little experiment of mine. So this one's supposed to be projected to be paid off in July 24th. But as you can see, I have paid off all of these before even July. So this was not supposed to be paid off till June. It's already paid off. April, it's already paid off. And March's is already paid off. So I feel like the HELOC is working well, and the no spend is definitely rocket launching my debt payoff. As you can see, I had over $2,000 in every one of my debt payoffs, snowballs in the first quarter of the year. And I kind of track that here. I do like what my goal is and then actually how much I was able to do. See, in January, my goal was 1683. I had an extra 1,000 towards it. And then last month, I had 1745, so I got an extra 375 towards it. And so this month, right, let's see what I said here. We have 1478 projected. Let's go right here, 1478. And we'll just have to see kind of how that goes and how much my goal can be from all those side hustles. Once I have that filled out for the month, then I'm going to come back here and I'm going to do a kind of a tracker for motivation. This was my first debt that I paid off, and this is my second debt. And what you do is you just count up the items and divide by that debt, that amount towards that debt, so you know how much each item is. And as you're paying it off, you kind of fill it in. It's very motivational, and I found like the visual is exciting, and I kind of even show my husband, hey, look, we're halfway there. Or like this one right here, I just started on my fourth debt. My goal is $2,600 payoff, and amount per step when I added them up and divided it was $40. And so I had paid last month, and when I figured out how much money I paid, then I was able to color in this month amount. And so I just think doing these kind of trackers really help keep you going and give you that visual like stimuli to keep going and keep paying off stuff. So I hope that was helpful in your budget. I love to hear any tips or tricks that you do or realizations that you've had in your budget, because we always love to sharpen one another and become better at what refining our budget and creating more and more refinement in our budget. If you didn't see my budget closeout, which I do think is the probably second most important thing to the budget itself, then I will put that budget closeout right here, because you got to know how to close it out. All right. I hope that you have a great day. Find joy in this journey, and I'll see you next time.